It's time! NRL fantasy season is upon us. Woo! Oh, this is exciting. All right, so 12:30 p.m. right now. Game start at 1:15. We have 45 minutes to lock in our fantasy sides. At least, really right now, right? You're locking in Vegas, and you're locking in your captain and your vice captain. Now, guys, if you aren't already part of the Discord, I've promoted a bit before, but the Discord is free. So there's about 4,000 people in the Discord. You can jump in, and you can see here, live game thread. These are absolutely pumping during the games. If you are an upgraded member, there's a private thread as well that's a bit quieter, but these are pumping. So jump in there. We're going to be talking everything fantasy. Now, for today, I'm going to be going through... I'm going to be going through a bit about my team, and I'm going to be doing some Q&A as well. So first things first, before we jump in and get some questions, these are the buys. I'm going to have these sitting in the background here. What this means is red means they have a buy in the first 6 weeks. Just keep that in mind. If you have too many players from these teams, you are cooked. Yellow is that they have a buy around 7 to 11, so not too bad. No buys before Origin is green. And if they have a box over them, the black box, that means they have a buy in round 12. So the Storm and the Cowboys don't have a buy until round 15. So just keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to hit some comments here. If you got any questions, ask me. I'd love to know about questions about specific players, right? So if there's a certain player or a pod that you're eyeing off, I can talk about those guys. I think those are the best questions, that are the most entertaining to watch. So I'm ready to start finally. Welcome, Wawasan. How you doing, man? Fancy Triple H, let's go. Let's get that big rank again this year, man. In New Zealand Kiwi, I'm calling Galvin, guys, going to top this seat. Yeah, I actually reckon this is a mad play. So Lockie Galvin, 52 average a couple of years ago. He looked lost at the Dogs last year. That attack was clunky. 3 try assists in 12 games. I think a full preseason there with Preston, Zeri, and Karaz on that right side. It looks like Crichton swaps. That's going to be really good. So, yeah, I like the Galvin pick at all. A bunch there. I don't mind Galvin. Yep, fantasy is back. My little Baldy is back. Yeah, I went down to the bowling alley, shined him up. Looking nice and clean. We own. Here we go. How's everything fancy looking? It's looking pretty good. I've been sent a few fake pieces of mail in the DMs, so please don't do that. It gives me a heart attack every time. Hey, we lose to these bums. Hull KR. Yeah, I'm shocked the Broncos lost to them. Okay, they're down 40-0 when I checked last, which is crazy. Only made 3 changes today. That's a record. Mate, you are a committed man. A committed man. Pong up masterclass today. I actually don't mind this shout. Let's go. Val Holmes, Luke Evans, or McEwen, or Lukey. I would say... Lukey he's cheaper, right? So I think he's the easier loophole. Dylan Walker, nah, not for me. Cooper Bye, I like him. Thoughts on Valentine Holmes? Yeah. Not for me, but we have seen centers kill it in Vegas. Now, I'm going to hit, and thank you. Valley, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the hard work. Yeah, look, I love this stuff. Like this was, this all started out, I remember it was years ago. It started out just as an avenue to, sort of share something I enjoyed. I obviously like fantasy quite a bit. I've got a lot of friends that I've made in fantasy for 10 plus years. And yeah, this content just was a bit of an avenue, and it's grown into something crazy, which is super fun. I really do love it. So, and, thank you for being part of it. Kyan, good to see you, man. Yeah. We basically all have the same team. This is the hard part, right? So when you look at everyone having the same team, I've got a Q&A in a sec. I'll jump to my team here. And look, I share my team, so there's a lot of teams that look like my team. I get DM'd sometimes. It's actually really funny. I get in the DMs on Instagram, people sending teams it's just my team with one change. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, well, I like it because it's my team. But yeah, differentiators. You got to find a few upside plays to make with your team, right? So you could say everyone's teams look the same, but if you look across your team, if we say my team, for example, and you don't have to pick these guys. They're lower ownership for a reason. But Isaiah Papali'i is only 11% owned. He's a guy who's not guaranteed the role. That could blow up in my face, or it could be really good. You've got Bradden Best, 4.6% ownership. Very low ownership amongst serious coaches too. I'm playing for the nuclear upside there. I'm not guaranteeing this one works. So if you get on Bradden Best, it's your responsibility. Like there's certain guys where I say, hey, this guy's a must-have. I'm not saying that about Best. I just think there's upside here and potential for him to go huge. So that's my play there. A guy like Walsh, for example, he's in a lot of teams, but among serious coaches, it's about 50-50 split. So again, that play, it's not in everyone's team. There's actually a big difference there. A guy like Selwyn Cobbo as well, he's 12% owned, but pretty low ownership across the board. He's a bit more of a popular player amongst the average coaches. So these are the types of pods you can take a swing at. And then, you go towards guys like Hopgood versus Tino versus Yo versus these types of players. Like, I think you're underestimating how many little tweaks there are in the teams that actually make a massive difference. And the more similar the teams are, by the way, the more important it is to loophole. I think that's something I should cover right now as well. So if you have your team in front of you and you're not sure about loopholing, I can nail this for you right now. So what you want to do, because you're going to have Halem Lukey, Setutu, and Tom Chester in your side. You're going to have Makasini as well, and you're going to have Adam Dewey. These guys are all basically must-haves. So put them in the order that I have them. Dewey in interchange 4, Lukey emergency 5, Setutu emergency 6, and Chester emergency 7. Makasini starting center. What you do here, and I know some of you guys get this, but Lukey is loopholing into Dewey's spot there. So if Lukey goes well, I leave that, and he subs into Dewey's blank spot. Setutu currently doesn't sub in. It's actually Chester who subs in at center, because when Makasini doesn't play, it looks for a center. That's the easy play. If Chester sucks, I will move Makasini to wing fullback and make a swap on my team, and I'll loop Setutu in instead. So that's what I'm playing with there on the loophole. Loophole, if you don't get it, that's okay. I'm going to do more as the season goes on. You don't have to nail it round 1, but if you're not sure about the loophole, I would say just structure your team the way mine's structured, and you actually don't need to make the moves during the day today if you've structured it this way, because the Tigers players are fluid. You can move them around next week, so you have plenty of time. So just put Lukey, 2, and Chester in those spots, and put Dewey and Makasini in the spots I've got, and you'll be absolutely fine in that loophole. Some of you guys are mentioning too, you think Lukey's a start. Look, fair shout. I think Lukey's going to go well. Just the injury history, I've just gone, you know what, easy loophole in Vegas. That's a play I'm going to make there. But you could loophole Paxton or someone like that instead if you wanted to as well. I'm not sure exactly when the Titans play, though. I've really only considered loopholing Vegas players. Braden Best or Rob Toya is such a hard question. They're my two favorites, man. Like I would have gone Toya if there wasn't an injury cloud over him. That's the one thing that broke them up for me. I think Toya is going to be fantastic this year, but that injury cloud coming into the year, it just makes you think, I was kind of backing him to have more meters run this year, more attacking involvements, and with the injury, that kind of brings that into question. I still think Toya is going to be really good, but personally, I've gone Braden Best. I think it's going to be fun in Vegas too. And like, I'm playing to win, right? But part of playing to win is you kind of have to make some out there calls. So the year I won, it's 10 years ago now. It's been quite a while, but the year I won, I made a lot of real speculator calls, like Tony Williams back in the day, Jamal Idris at the Titans. Like there was a bunch of crazy picks, and I just went away from the crowd. And that can work, or it can blow up in your face. And I like to play fantasy a bit like that. So, with these guys, they're both pods. I like them both. It's kind of your call. I think whether you want to deal with, they're both a bit injury prone as well right now too. So it's a bit tricky. Longy, why'd you go Marnie instead of Grant? I have Grant and already have 116K in the bank. Should I Hamish Stewart or Marnie? I think you want to have both Hamish Stewart and Marnie. So the news has come out that Marnie is an 80-minute player and that they're not going to use Sonny Luke to rest Marnie. That means that he's going to be like a 50 average, which means you want to have him. But Hamish Stewart, as long as he's starting at lock, that's the big thing there. He's going to be solid as well. Is fair money a starter? It looks like he will be, but he's not in the game yet. Now, I just want to have a look here. So, because also part of this stream right now is I'm still locking down my team. So before I hit more questions, a good call here, by the way, SA. Best has injuries too. He's very injury prone. That's absolutely a real thing. Yeah, 100%. I just think Toya carrying injuries into the season, that's the one thing that I'm kind of steering away from. But Best he's very risky as well. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a big day. Actually, drop a comment, guys. Drop a message in the live. What do you think Braden Best is going to score today? What do you think he's going to score today? We'll see. We'll see who gets it the closest there. And just try to remember what you scored and what you predicted. And if you get it right, let me know. But yeah, for my side here, I'm not too worried about, guys like Jermaine Hopgood, guys like Isaiah Papali'i. Like these guys are not playing till next week. So I've got flexibility there. So what I'm looking at here is my flexibility. I have Reed at starting hooker. I've got the 2 front rowers there as well. I've got Dylan Brown in the halves, Braden Best at center. I'm okay with locking this up because I really want the flexibility to make changes to some of these guys I'm not talking about. But if Setutu and Tom Chester are both absolutely terrible, then I might I'll either start Fayamani. By the way, Zane Harrison's, he's a placeholder for Fayamani. So I'll either start Fayamani at center or I'll figure out something else. But I've got the flexibility to do that. So really, you're just trying to maximize the amount of vision you have over the performances of your players today so that you can make calls next week. So really, I really recommend, this is the one thing you need to listen to, structure your bench like mine. unless you think 2 and Chester are both scoring 50 plus, then you can start them both if you want to. But I would recommend structuring it like mine so you have great visibility over your roster and you can actually make smart calls through the week because we have not a whole week, but we have till Thursday when Parramatta play the Storm. Parramatta's going to belt the Storm, by the way. Go the Eels. That's what you got to keep yourself open to, though. All right, is there a world where Mazu gets above 70 today? Sivo style. Yeah, Mazu's good. Mazu's good, and that edge looks good too. I don't have Mazu, but he's a real pod that you could take a swing at if you wanted to. Do you think Fayamani will get center duel? I hope he does. I'm pretty 50-50 on this. If I was going to guess, though, I'd say he probably doesn't get it. I just think they've been a little bit strict with how they've brought players in. We've seen the increases in player prices, that kind of thing as well. So I would plan for him not to get center duel if I was you. What up, Toby Couchman? Price at a 54. I think he can be a low 60s guy if the minutes there, but it's a bit risky. You know, he's got that shoulder issue as well that he had. Didn't really pop off the page for me in the trial games. I thought Hamish Stewart was their best forward in the trials. So I'm investing in Hamish Stewart. I haven't gone Couchman, but I'm not against Couchman. I think he's a machine. If you want to go there, you definitely can. Tackle talk. We are back. Knights for the win. Yeah, I'm tipping the Knights here too. I think Knights go well. Also, here's Herbie and Best. Wow, that is a crazy center set. All right, so score predictions for Ab and Best. I'm going to read these out. NRL Noz, ever the hater says 0. Hunter says 2. Wow, 47, 42. You guys are non-believers. 45, 70. Here we go. Fryer, Terry, Tibbs. That's a guy that I can believe in. Then we got 32, 22, 39, 26, 46, 66. There we go. You know, when I posted this in the preseason, everyone guessed like 100. You guys have become cynical. You've become cynical through the preseason. Luca, 62. That's my man. 37, 40, 39. Here we go. 100. Easy does it. Does 100. I like that shout. 35, 67. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, we're pretty set here. So yeah, fire through some questions, guys. I'll answer some questions here. I'll pop the special Q&A one up. There we go. Also, if you ever wondered how I do these visuals, it's in Canva. So they're pretty basic. They're pretty chill. So quick question. First year playing. How do you move Macassini to wing fullback? Where does the starting wing fullback go? So you would sell your wing fullback. So if you were going to run that loophole and move Macassini to wing fullback, you either move your starting wing fullback to the bench or you eliminate them completely. But if you move them to the bench, they ruin the loophole. So really, you're eliminating one of them. For me, I'd probably get rid of Cobbo, I would say, if I was going to run a Setutu loophole, but he'd need to score quite well for me to do that. So I'm not married to that as a strategy. I'd need Setutu to go really well to make that move. Join the Discord for live game chat. Yeah, spot on. I will actually create a link. Oh no, we're going through. We have so many images here. I'll create an invite to the Discord. So invite to server. We'll see a copy. There we go. Here's the game thread, by the way, if you are new. So I'm just popping into the chat right now. But yeah, jump into the Discord. The live game chats pop off. How many messages do we have already? So far, 100 messages, and we just opened it. And there's a few people saying, look at my team. Guys, come on. No team screenshots. But yeah, that's the Discord there. So that pumps. That goes really well. All right, let's see. Any other questions here? All right, Drinky over Walsh. No Purdue in the halves. It's good for him. Easy matchups first few weeks. Yeah, Drinky is a good shout. Good matchups coming up. I can see the appeal. I don't love paying full price for Drinkwater. That's my only reason why I'm not going there. Then backup hooker. Yeah, actually, you know what? My team is probably a better backdrop anyway than the visual, isn't it? So I'll leave it on my team. No backup hooker. Yeah, I'm not running a backup hooker this year. If Reed was to get hurt in Vegas or something like that, knock on wood, hope he doesn't. But if that happened, then I would look at getting a hooker. But for me, I think the hooker spot, I mean, it's really Reed Marnie or Brayley Grant. And I just don't want to get one of those top tier guys. But I could potentially move Hopgood to Brayley or Grant, depending on what happens in my team. 72 for Best. Yeah, good shout. He's going to score about 52. Definitely score a try. 3K in the bank is asking for trouble. We got plenty of time, man. Like, we got next week as well. So I'm not too fast. I've actually placed Hopgood in there as a bit of a hold of value. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much, guys. You only have, 6 or 7 players locking in here. Fair money is getting DPP. I hope so, but we'll know on Tuesday. Don't worry about the fair money thing, though. Like, it happens or it doesn't. You've got plenty of flexibility with your side. When looping Chester in, so right now, as it stands, Chester would loop into my team because he's the top center on my bench. and I have a center DNP. Tomoko. Oh, here we go. This is fun. Tossing up between him. So Tomoko scored 65 in Vegas last year, by the way. Just a random stat for you. He is interesting. Priced at a 43. He gets Ethan Strange on his edge, so potential for attacking upside. He was a bit average in attack last year, so I can see the appeal of making a move like this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not really considering it. I don't really love Canberra this year, so I'm going to say no, just because they were such a good attacking team last year. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if he does make a leap. So if you want to go the pod, you can. The other, you asked about Best as well. Obviously, I have Best in my side, so I rate him. I'll probably get on Cooper Webb one round. Yeah, okay. Viva Las Vegas. McEwen, I've skipped McEwen. I've sold him. I just don't love that he's not playing 80 minutes. McEwen is pretty much guaranteed not to play 80 minutes. That's the big thing there. Apparently, Chan will rotate with Lasardi. That is messy. Right now, I don't have Lasardi, but I'm still open to moving him in next week. There's talk that he might play a bit of lock next week as well. So it's a really messy scenario at the Storm there. And Sean Bloor has that legal thing, but he has a 1-week ankle injury. It's just a mess. Yo, Grant, I have Marnie. I would go for Yo over Grant if you have the cash. I think he's a better scorer. Sharp for 100. I don't mind this shout, actually. So, yeah, I've got Sharp in a bunch of draft leagues. So he was going really late because he wasn't guaranteed to start, and it was absolutely cracker that I got him. I seriously have no idea who Cooper Webb is, by the way, man. Like that sounds like an early 2000s basketball player. Do we read much into Croker into the starting side in regards to McEwen rotation and minutes? Let me have a look at this because I'm just going to get the teams up. You know, we are on live. We're at the last sort of second here. So let me just double check what these teams look like. But for Croker into the starting side, I don't think it makes a big difference. I think Thomas Cant is going to play a small number of minutes on the edge. And that's really all that matters for McEwen. If Dylan Lucas got hurt or something like that, then that would obviously create more minutes. But otherwise, Lucas is one of the best back rowers in the game, so he's not going to get less minutes. Frizzell is on the bench, right? So they've gone Croker to start at lock, Frizzell on the bench. I don't see this as an impact. I actually think it's quite a good move. Frizzell is a really strong impact player off the bench, brings a lot of intensity. Can't play big minutes, but brings the heat. So for them, maybe McEwen, I mean, look, the mail coming out has been that McEwen's not playing 80 minutes. But I look at this bench and I see Sandon Smith there. Sandon Smith is going to have to go to hooker, and we're going to need to see Crossland go to lock, I think. That's probably what's going to happen. Then Frizzell and Solo are the bench props, and then Thomas Camp will play a bit of middle and a bit of edge. That's how I see it going. So I think McEwen's like a 65-minute guy. I think he averages in the low 40s. I think he could have a good day today, by the way. So if you do like McEwen, don't let me talk you out of it. I just personally am steering in another direction. It's not you, it's me, Jermaine McEwen. But I think McEwen, if you got the 80 minutes, I think he's super talented. So I rate him eventually. If Atkinson goes big, I'll be filthy. Yeah, look, Atkinson against the Dogs today, they're a bit of a clamp down defense. So that's one where I'm pretty happy to skip this one. If you had to let him go by. I think if he has the role, if he does all the kicking, and if he looks good, I'll buy him next week. But I don't think he's going to go big against the Dogs. Although that's dangerous for me to say. Itaka Manu is interesting. He has never really made that jump to top tier. He was pretty good the back end of last year, very strong, and he's looking like a bigger role this year. They're missing Trent Loiera to start, but they did bring in a few different options. Hetherington's there. They grabbed a few other guys as well. So I'm not on Itaka Manu. I prefer a guy like Hopgood or someone who's sort of done it before, but I could see Itaka Manu popping off. So if you want to take a swing at it, just be ready that he's kind of more volatile than most middle forwards. That's the key thing there. I'm attached to Cobbo. I can't do the loop. Fair enough, man. I mean, the other thing you could do here too is you could use Setu 2 as your backup for a Lukey loop. So if Lukey scores poorly, you just move Setu into interchange 4, right? And then you're running a loophole there instead. And when Fayamani comes in, you can play him at center, and then you don't have to swap Cobbo out. So there's a few different options there. You don't need to understand all of these today. Just structure your team like this, and then you'll have the flexibility after these games to make these moves. Except for the one with Setu 2. If you're going to move him, you have to do it before he plays. That's the one key thing. I've got Reed and Brayley. Yeah, I like that as a combination. I do like that combo. I'm getting the shakes. I'll tell you guys a funny story. I was the Misso is getting into fantasy this year. And basically what I'm doing with her is because she watches a bit of the content, but it sort of it goes over her head a bit. So what I was doing was sitting down with her and sharing different strategies. So going, here's different options at hooker. Here's this guy, why he's good. Here's this guy. Anyway, she's built a roster based on that. I couldn't convince her to get Bradman Best. She was off him. So if you want to listen to the misso instead of me, she was cautious about that. She's gone a few pods. So she got Adden Fanua Blake. She went No Pain Haas, and she liked Talis Duncan to Captain Cleary. So she's going the Haas anti-pod, which I'm actually happy that I now know someone who's doing that because it's not a common strategy. Actually, it feeds into this question from Izzy and Phil, Haas, Cleary, or both. I'm going both, but I can see a world where you zig rather zag, you do a different thing and you don't get Haas and you Captain Cleary and it works, right? It's a pod that either burns you a bit or works beautifully, but you could run that. You could go just Haas as well. I mean, the standard, like the regular team strategy, most people are doing sort of what I'm doing here. They're going Haas, Captain, Cleary as well, beefing up the guns. But if you want to be different, go Cleary, captain him, and don't buy Haas. I reckon it's an underrated pod move. It could burn you, by the way. So if it burns you, don't hold it against me. But if it works out, it's going to make up massive ranks. So that's one thing I'm going to flag there. Who 466K for bench. I mean, guys like Hamish Stewart are good options. I've obviously got him there. Sanders is there as well. There's a few different options there. You can talk about guys like McEwen, Luciano Leilua. You can leave the spot blank, get Blake Steep, and see what happens next week instead. There's plenty of options there. Personally, I would go Hamish Stewart and Trey Mooney, obviously, and then I would leave the spot blank for next week if you got those guys already. Grant and Sewer or Marnie and Ponga. Ooh, I probably like. I'm kind of liking Marnie and Ponga out of those two. I just reckon Ponga has some big upside. So Grant and Sewer, I mean, Sewer can get hurt as well. I'm going Marnie and Ponga for you. It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling today. I just reckon it's going to pop off. I think Marnie and Ponga do well. Cheaper centers and better bench, such as Penasini. Yeah, I don't love Penasini personally. I wouldn't go there. I'd probably go Campbell Graham before I went Penasini, as long as you don't have too many Rabbitohs players. Walsh and Best or Karaz and Toya. I've got Walsh and Best, so that probably tells you what I think. Karaz and Toya are safer options in terms of their scoring. Karaz has a bye next week, though, so I'm sort of erring away from Karaz just on the back of the round 2 bye, but I do like Karaz quite a bit, and I think he's going to go massive today. It's a scary one not owning Karaz. What's Fair Money's average? He averages about 33, I think, in reserve grade. So maybe 30, not a massive average. Plays center in reserve grade, though, so goes to the wing in first. Looks like a guy who can score a try, can break a tackle. My guess is he averages about 35. I think there's a few games under 20 there. I think there's a few games where he scores a double and grabs 50. A bit of volatility. He's going to be a loophole guy, a bit of a fixture loophole guy that you run through the year. Let's go. Good to see you. I'm going to jump down some newer questions. Do you see any value in the centers? Makasini, Chester, and Fayamani are the value. And then you can go for guys like Lea Tower, if he starts, has value. Campbell Graham. You could talk about Penasini potentially as well. I think Bradman Best, by the way, is a cut price cheap keeper if things go right for him. So, yeah, I'm looking there. Casey McLean is one that I don't like personally. Scored basically a try a game last year, averaged 37. He really, really needs to score an insane amount of tries to be effective in fantasy. And he does score a lot of tries, by the way. So it could work, but it's extremely boom or bust. I just don't like the base stats for Casey McLean. So not one I'm jumping onto. Like even in the World Club Challenge, he scored a couple of 50s and a 40 with 5 tries in 3 games, which is absurd. 4 tries for Sevo. Man, I love Sevo, dude. As a para fan, a lot of para fans turned on Sevo. I've posted a number of times about Sevo. In the last year in the comp, I was posting about him being the most underrated player in the game. I love Micah Sevo. I get that he's not the perfect winger and all that sort of stuff, but Micah Sevo is what footy's about. He's just so fun to watch. And yeah, I was a big fan of Micah Sevo. It brings a tear to the eye thinking about his days at Parramatta. All right, I'm on the Bradman Best train. Yes, there we go. Another one's joined me on the Bradman Best train. Should I get Ponga or Hopgood? Now you're tempting me. I love the idea of Ponga. I really like him in this game. The injury cloud's not ideal, but I think Ponga is going to be good. I've gone Hopgood, though. So I've gone Walsh, Fairlongo, Cobbo on my back line. I've left Ponga out. In love for McEwen, yeah. What's the rumor of 80 minutes? Because I've heard the rumor that he's not playing 80 minutes, and that came from a pretty solid source that said he won't be playing 80 minutes at the start of the year. He might potentially grow into it as the year goes on, but for now, I just don't see it. So getting a bunch of messages flying through. If there is mail, by the way, guys, just let me know. But especially if you're one of the people I trust with mail. Let me know. So Ponga VC. Yeah, you could VC Ponga. Stick him with Toya. Don't mind that shout. Dom Young as a pod is insane. No way. I don't love it. I think he's going to have some big days and he could go well today, but yeah, I don't see the value there. We can't trust rumors after the Trey Mooney saga. That was a really good example of what goes on. So yeah, Daily Telegraph reported Trey Mooney was going to be on the bench. I made the post about that and very clearly in the description said, hey, this is unconfirmed rumor from Daily Telegraph. Then posted the story and again said, repeating, this is unconfirmed. Wait for Teamless Tuesday before you make any decisions. Yeah, that stuff, I like to share that stuff because most of the time it is correct. You can't always get them right. But there were a few cretins in the DMs, blowing up and getting really angry and a bit abusive, which was which was strange. But hey, it's news that came out, so we're going to keep sharing it. Could you explain how your looping works again? Yeah, sure. I'll explain the loophole again for everyone who's jumped in. So yeah, 400 people here. That's sweet. Yeah, we never really do. I've never done this before, but I'll make a bunch of content on the shorts as well today. So in terms of loopholes, I posted a video on Instagram and TikTok as well about 2 hours ago on how to loophole for round one. So you can check that out too if you want to rehash. But structure your team like mine. So Halem Lukey, Set 2-2, Tom Chester in your emergencies. Then Adam Dewey on the edge of your bench and Matt Cassini starting center. This is really important, right? So what happens here, and you don't have to make all these calls today, is Lukey is going to sub into Dewey's spot. If Dewey doesn't play, which is on a bye, he's not going to play, Lukey will sub in. If Lukey sucks, you bring in one of your bench guys. So I'm going to have fair money there, and you play him instead, right? So I get to choose. Do I take Lukey's score or do I do the swap? Because I can move Zane Harrison and Dewey, and Harrison won't be Harrison, but I can move Harrison and Dewey after Lukey plays. On the same wavelength, Matt Cassini is starting center. I can have Set 2-2 and Tom Chester here. And right now, Matt Cassini doesn't play. So what Fantasy does is it goes, I need a center for his starting side. It goes to my bench and it goes, not a center, 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 not a center. And it gets down to Tom Chester, who's a center. And it goes, yep, cool. I'll bring him in to the starting team. It doesn't actually move the player, but it basically just counts their score in the spot. So it's going to grab Tom Chester. If Chester sucks, what I do is I grab Amani, for example, next week, and I put him in the starting center spot. Or I can run a wing fullback loophole where I move Matt Cassini to the wing fullback spot instead. I have to get rid of one of my wing fullbacks to do that. And instead, it'll look for a wing fullback. It'll be Set 2-2. Now, by the time I have to make that decision, I've seen Lukey, Set 2-2, and Tom Chester's scores, so I can choose the best score of the bunch. This is really important if, let's say Tom Chester goes 60 plus and Set 2-2 scores 20 against the Dogs. You've just made up 40 points instead of having to play a player blind. So it's a massive move. I'm going to be releasing videos every single week on my loophole setup, by the way. So Thursdays, I'm doing my team reveal and I'm doing my loophole strategy. So you can call those videos. If you don't quite get it today, just structure your team like mine. It will make sense after a couple of goes. You'll start to get it, but don't feel too bad if you don't get it straight away. It's probably one of the more advanced fantasy strategies. So yeah, the veterans in there, they're nodding along. They're like, yep, I've heard this before long. I don't want to hear it again. So yeah. Mahi, you're back. Mahi, one of our great news sources. On the Discord, if you see that name, he's using the old red casual athlete logo, always sharing news in there. Oh, no. Oh, did it lag? Oh, my God. That's so annoying. So basically, I'm not going to hammer it again, but just structure your team the way I've got it. So Lukey, Set 2-2, Tom Chester, and then you've got, Matt Cassini and Dewey in those spots, and you got the loopholes. So that's the play, guys. Sorry about that. Yep, I've actually got the new internet stuff. It just came today, so I'm actually doing the upgrade like tonight, which is going to be good. I saw what's good. How you doing, man? How you doing? Tao Kamano or Hopgood? I prefer Hopgood, but they're both good options. Talis Duncan or Ponga? I like Ponga. I've got a good feeling about Ponga, but I don't have him on my side, so do what you want to do there. Thoughts on Tino? I love Tino. If I can get Hopgood out for Tino, I need to find some cash to do it. I will absolutely try to do that move. Do I think Nico Hines is a good pick? I love Nico Hines as a pick. Yeah, man, 100%. Nico is a great option. I may end up getting Nico as well. There's potential that I go to Nico. So yeah, I think he goes massive against the Titans this week. I think the Sharks are going to pound the Titans. Sorry to any Titans fans. I do like Ero. Pretty attacking, stat reliant. That's my one concern about Kale Ero. So yeah, not as keen on him, but I can see the upside. If he can find an offload in his game, he's going to be an absolute beast. And he could. 486K for a mid. Who do you reckon? Hamish Stewart, Trey Mooney. And then after that, it's a bit tricky. Thoughts on anti-potting Cleary with JC? Don't mind it. if you want to make that move. I personally am steering towards Cleary. Too many players today. No, I'm pretty happy with this. So I've got the middle forwards. Most of these guys are guys that you really want to have. There's a lot of value in these games today. Braddon Best is really the only optional player. Other than that, they're guys that you sort of want to have in your team. So I'm happy with this setup. What will be the fantasy dud this year? I was going to say Brandon Smith before he got hurt, but fantasy dud this year, I've got a feeling that, I think Atkinson will take time to wind up, right? So I think people who started with Atkinson will do what people did with Metcalf last year, and they'll trade out too early, and they'll be looking to get him back later. Like, I think he's a guy who can push into the 40s for his average, but I think it's going to take time. The Dragons are a bit clunky to start, and Dogs are a tough matchup round one. So I think Atco is going to be one that frustrates early and then comes good later. Other than that, who's a player that I think is going to be a dud? Like Ryan Couchman I like as well. Cooper Bai I like as a stamp up. I think Paxton for the Titans, I'm not convinced on him at all. I don't know why. He just hasn't. I like players who look like the best option on their team, right? And for Paxton, I haven't loved what I've seen from him when I've watched him play. He's a young guy, right? So he's still developing and all that kind of thing, but I'm not fully convinced. Saying that, one good game from him, and I'll change my mind completely. But I just haven't seen that big game where I've seen him and been like, yeah, that's a guy who's going to earn that spot and carry 80 minutes. So he's one that I think is a bit sus, but his reserve grade average is like 45, so you really can't afford to skip him. I do have concerns about Suafe Longer as well. Not the scoring. I think he's a great scorer, but the injury history does worry me a bit. And then I think Setu 2 will really struggle against the Dogs today. I think the Dogs clamp down defense is going to be good. I think Setu gets like high 20s, like maybe a 27 or a 28 this week. Whereas I think Tommy Chester has a bigger game in him. So yeah, that's sort of how I see it. Fairmoney, I guess, is the other one. He's going to be playing. I think he might have some real shockers as well in key moments. Like really, you can't really trust these sort of base price guys. And it's very lucky when they emerge and absolutely kill it in fantasy. So that's the big thing. Luciano or Atkinson. Luch or Atco. Luciano is the more proven scorer, but Atco's obviously got the better role. So I'm probably steering towards. Depends what your team needs, really. Depends what your team needs. Are you watching? I'm going to be chucking it on shortly. And then, actually, maybe I should put the game on right now. Is the game still going? Is the because it was a blowout, right? So I watched a bit of it, but then it was obviously a blowout. So I've just sort of jumped across to do this. All right, Hines or Couch? Hines or Couch? I prefer Hines. I'm a big Hines fan for this year. Mike Sutton, bruh, you got to stop spamming, man, or I'm not going to answer. In fact, you're a little timeout. Sorry, mate. Can't send you a message like 10 times. Who are you tipping for today's games? I'm super confident in these tips, by the way. Actually, by the way, if you haven't joined, join the tipping comp. Join the tipping comp. It's 10 grand. Rounds 1 to 6 every week. The top tipper wins 10 grand. It's absolutely crazy. Links in my story on Instagram. If you go there, I think we did a tipping video as well where it is too. But yeah, 10 grand to the top tipper every week for the first 6 weeks. They're absolutely crazy. So jump in that tipping comp. It's going to be cracker. I'm tipping the Knights. I think the Knights win by 4. I've got the Knights showing off that attack, but I think they'll leak a bit in defense. Like, it should be a good game. I'm predicting like a Knights maybe 24-20 kind of game. I really hope for the game it is that, because these two teams can have a stinker, but I want a big, fun, attacking game at Vegas. So yeah, Knights to win that one, and then Bulldogs I've got to win. I just think their edges and defense will be too strong for St. George with some new combinations. So yeah, it's an easy play. Best, McLean or Carraz? I've got Best, but I like Carraz. I don't like McLean. And then warming up. Yeah. So it's about 10 minutes till game time now, actually. So guys, you're here, 10 minutes till game time. Here's a checklist for you. Set up your loophole correctly. So Lukey, 2, Chester, Dewey, Macassini need to be where they are. Starting players should be in your starting team. If they're playing today, they should be in your starting team or completely off the team. You want to keep flexibility on your bench, because if you had, I don't know, let's say you had Jermaine Hopgood in starting mid and you had Stewart on the bench and you tried to trade Hopgood out, you can't trade him for any position. Whereas if he's on your bench, you can trade him for any position. Your vice captain should play in Vegas. I know it's a bit risky, but I personally think this is a strategy. You can also run your vice captain as a player you're 100% going to keep if you want to, but I think vice captain in Vegas is the play. So Trey Mooney is the guy I'm locking in there. If you captain Payne Haas or Nathan Cleary or someone else, they will be locked in 10 minutes. Captain and vice captain lock. I know a lot of you guys get this already, but captain and vice captain lock at the start of the round. So whoever you're captaining, they are in your team for the rest of the year. if you're thinking about anti-potting Haas, you need to make that call in 9 minutes. So, a lot of pressure on you there. But I'm captaining Haas this week. I'm going to stick with that. I liked his minutes. He played 80 minutes in that World Club Challenge. I think that's an indicator that they're going to start hot. Got the Panthers this week. It's a big matchup. I do think Cleary kills it, though. So if you want to captain Cleary, I'm really on the fence about this, but I'm just going with the Haas train. Then other than that, that's really the main thing. So your starters, put them starting. Your loophole, set that up. And your vice captain, make sure they play in Vegas. So one of those games, probably Trey Mooney, maybe Dylan Brown, one of these types of guys. Someone you think is a pretty safe pick to score, a decent enough score. And you make your captain your real captain. So that's the checklist there. We've got 10 minutes left. All right. Teams are warming up now. Yep. Nice. Why do I have Hopgood? Was the question there. I think that, so he's priced at a 46. He's been like a 60 average guy in the past. He could potentially get back to that average as well. I think he's looked really good in preseason. He had a couple of offloads, no missed tackles in the trial game. Looked really good. He's a placeholder right now. I prefer Tino, but I can't afford Tino as of today, but we've got a whole week to figure that out. Taking a chance on Atkinson. Fair shout, Alex. I like that move. He's a goer. Just be patient with him. Like if you're going to pick Atkinson, you kind of got to, work your way up into it. Longy brings us confidence in best. I really need to remind you, how many times I also make mistakes with players. So I get these things wrong all the time too. So just because I say it, it doesn't mean it's 100% going to work out. But when Bradman Best scores 100 today, which I think is going to happen, oh, wow, I've made that call on air. That's brave. But when he scores 100, I'll be coming and running some victory laps here. But yeah, Bradman Best, it's risky. It's high risk, high reward. I just think he's the play at the center spot. Center's very tricky this year. And I don't trust the cheapies that much. I kind of trust Tom Chester, but I don't really trust the rest. Longy, that new logo is going to look good tattooed, huh? Yeah, mate. So if you guys haven't seen this, I've got a little bet with Blindside NRL. So he is going, it's based on Dylan Brown. So if Dylan Brown averages over 44, he has to give me $200 and he has to get a tattoo of my logo on his arm. And if Dylan Brown averages under 44, I have to give him $200 and dye my beard blonde. And I'll show you guys a photo. I'll show you guys a photo of this. I've got a photo of the blonde beard that the Misso absolutely hated. She was like, "You cannot do that. That is disgusting." There's the blonde beard. So there you go, guys. That's an AI rendering, but that will be me soon if Dylan Brown lets me down. I don't think he will, though. I think Dylan Brown kills it today. So easy shout there. And we're going to have our first ever casual athlete tattoo on. If anyone else wants to get it tattooed on too, let me know. You will become my best friend. That's so crazy. Is Setu startable? I don't like Setu. This week because the Dogs matchup is tough. Yeah, I personally don't think you should start Setu too. But he has a lot of offloads in his game. He will produce some points. I'm expecting him just below 30 points is my pick. But, maybe the Dragons do heat up. They do have some attack in them. So maybe he does play out. It's just he's one that I'm sort of steering away from. Got to dye the eyebrows as well, man. Oh, God. Yuck. All right. I'll do the eyebrows too. Leilua and Herbie or Best and Hopgood. I've got Best and Hopgood right now. So that's where I'm going with this pick. I don't fully. So with Leilua, by the way, 4 forward bench for the Dragons worries me a little bit. That's where I'm kind of going, I'll probably steer away. But there is a bit of chat, actually. Let's just check the Dragons team here too. Because, yeah, we're in the mix of it now, guys. It's 6 minutes left. I'm pretty happy with my side, by the way, so I'm not really too worried. But if you're panicking, you've only got 6 minutes, so you should panic a little harder. All right, team lists. Let's see. Dragons extended bench. Okay, so there's a bit of talk, and this is from the Daily Telegraph, and they have lied to us over and over again. So don't believe it, but it's there. Apparently, Kyle Flanagan might play some hooker today for the Dragons, which would mean Lycan King Tonga comes into the halves, which would mean Blake Laurie doesn't get a run for the Dragons, which would mean it's not a 4 forward bench, which would mean Luciano Leilua could potentially play 80 minutes. So there's a few steps there of deduction that you need to sort of go through that aren't fully based on logic, but it could happen. That's the upside for Luciano. But if they run the 4 forward bench, then they are in a tricky situation because Luch is not going to play 80 because Jaden Sewer plays 80, right? So that's my thinking on Luciano Leilua. I'm a little worried about the minutes there, but if he is an 80-minute player, I'll have a look at him next week and, adjust there. You only have 21 spots, right? So you can only make so many calls. Is 5 halves too many? I think 5 halves is okay. How many do I have? I've got Brown, Cleary, I've got Sanders, I've got Dewey. Yeah, I've only got 4. You can go 5 if you really want to. I don't mind 5 if you really want to do it. Thoughts on Grant and Marnie? So just with the 5, by the way, you want to look at this. So you want to have a look at the buy schedule, right? So if you've got a bunch of halves and you also have maybe 2 Rabbitohs players, you have Talis Duncan and Dave Fafita in the back row, then you might be putting yourself a bit thin at one position. So just keep that in mind. You want to look at the buy rounds. These, by the way, are just, first 6 weeks buys, 7-11. And then the guys who don't have a buy for a long time, so these 6 teams on the green, they're in a really good spot for the buys. I'll just remove the comment as well so you can see that the Eels and the Panthers are down there too. Wow, 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left. Okay, I've got to be in this here. Let's see. By the way, guys, let me know. Do any of you guys play Supercoach as well as fantasy, or so? Actually, just drop a message. Say fantasy or both. Right? I'm keen to know how many of you guys actually play Supercoach too, because I've made a team this year. I've got Ponga as my vice captain in Supercoach. I'm thinking about captaining him just for the like narrative. That would actually. You know what? I'm going to do it. Yeah, Captain Ponga. All right, Ponga's my captain in Supercoach. There we go. I'm playing. So what I'm doing in Supercoach is just falling into all my biggest impulses. Right. So yeah, I'm just using it for fun. But yeah, fantasy is the main game. Here we go. Fantasy, both. Fantasy, just fantasy, both. Fuck, Supercoach. fantasy. Yeah, fair shout. Mostly just fantasy. Yeah, look, I'm not really thinking, because I did a Supercoach team reveal in the preseason, but I think it's better to just stay on one, man. Like, I know fantasy very, very well. I think there's no point in making Supercoach content. Now, guys, we have 3 minutes left. Till game time. It's gonna be on. I'm actually going to put the footy on my phone here so I can see exactly when it's kickoff, and then we'll see how many people are hanging out here. Would you guys like me to stay on for the start here, just to talk about sort of what's going on and have a bit of an early reaction? If we have people stay around and want a bit of alternate commentary and that kind of thing, we can hang around and sort of chat. Now I'm just putting the footy right there. There we go. All right. Now you guys can experience what the Misso experience is whenever we go out to dinner during the footy season. Me looking down at the footy. Yeah, so stay on the first little bit if you can. Yes. Great idea. Sweet. Yeah, all right. You guys are keen. Cool. All right, sweet. Let's do it. So right now the Knights it looks like they're coming out of the tunnel. Wow. Live commentary. Here we go. Oh my God, I'm so nervous about my team. Have I made any mistakes? Everyone, check your team one last time. Captain, vice captain. Are they on the right player? Are your starters in the starting team? Is your loophole set up correctly? It is go time. It is go time, guys. Whew. All right. So I'll answer a few more questions, by the way, while we're waiting for this. But Isaiah Papali, Angus Crichton, or IPAP and Tino. Well, IPAP's in both of those. So, Tino and Crichton. I'd probably go IPAP and Tino. I'm not the biggest Crichton fan right now. I don't love the work rate. I think he's got some attacking upside this year, but he's just been a bit less base stat heavy than he used to be, and the offloads aren't coming as much. Karaz, I like Karaz, of course. Yep, just around 2 buys, a bit tricky. Hopgood and Papali'i or Tino and Stefano. Ooh, Hopgood, Papali'i, Tino and Stefano. I'd probably say that you're looking at Hopgood and Papali'i for me. If you can get Tino and Papali'i, that's what I'd prefer. Hey, bring it on. Here we go. All right, guys, I want to have a quick word here because what I'm thinking about this game, right? I can tell you what I'm thinking, and we can see if I'm correct. But the Cowboys come into this year relatively written off. It's a relatively similar team to last year. They're going to be a fun attacking team, and they've got heaps of strikes. So Helen Lukey comes back. They've got Chester coming back in as well. They're a fun attacking side. Burns comes back in too. But their defense is going to be soft. So I look at, Chester in the centers, Purdue in the centers, Helen Lukey, Nanai will come back soon too. You've got these edges that I think are going to be really fragile, right, for the Cowboys. So I think they're going to be in shootouts this year. For the Knights, they get Dylan Brown in, and Dylan Brown's not the perfect player, right? He's not a 7 really, but they've got Brown and Sharp and Ponga in this spine. They've got all these weapons on the edge like Lucas, Best, Dom Young, these types of players. So in theory, if they can get into good field position, which is going to be a little hard with their forward pack, they're going to have tons of attack in them. Now, both these teams I would rank as pretty low tier forward packs, but very exciting attacking spines. So I think both these teams will let each other move down the field relatively easily. And I think there's going to be attack on offer here. I do think it's round one, so there's going to be clunky parts as well where, players drop some simple balls. But yeah, I could see that Fletcher Sharp edge with Lucas, Best, and Mazu really feasting here. So that's what I'm thinking about this game. That's why I've gone Bradden Best. That's why I'm happy to have Dylan Brown here as well. And, Trey Mooney, I think he gets a ton of work here. Ponga or Cobbo, last minute, I think it's already too late. I have gone Cobbo myself to save the money, but either are good. Footy's back here. Turbo, he's 102 next week. Yeah, game is about to kick off here. I'll give you a bit of let's try this. Let's try something different here. I'm going to do a bit of fantasy commentary. So, wow, this is nerve-wracking. I wasn't planning to do this today. All right, so guys, we've got kickoff here. Cowboys have the ball returned by tiny screen. Returned by Cohen Hess. He's absolutely driven back. So here we go. We're seeing that struggle from the forward pack straight away. We've got, Knights defense looks stout here. It looks really solid, but you can't really read into the opening exchanges too much. It's always pretty solid. Good to see Hallam Lukey take it up in the first set there as well. That's a good sign for the work rate for today. Braden Burns, we expect that from him. Easy shout. Oh, we got a few. I'm scared. Multiple of you have said I'm scared. I'm scared, chat. Yeah, that's classic. That's classic. I want to see a try here. What about Holmes and Asako? Yeah, I'm not super keen on Holmes and Asako personally. There's Ruben Cotter. Now, if any of you guys got on Ruben Cotter, I think he is a bit of value here. So he's I'd call him about 7 points of value. He's priced at a 44. I think he's a 51. Now, here's a kick from Clifford. Dom Young's got the ball. Yeah, Dom Young absolutely folded there. So McIntyre in the other edge back row spot. He's got that spot for a while, but they do have cover on the bench as well. It'll be interesting to see if Lukey or McIntyre is the 80-minute man. So that's going to be the big question there. What time is kickoff? Kickoff's right now, man. Kickoff's right now. This is a bit of alternate commentary for you guys. We'll see how we're going. I'm watching from England, 2 a.m. Come on, the Cowboys. Oh, here we go. Bit of drop pill here. Looks like Jermaine McEwen. They're challenging. Well, challenge straight away. That's a brave call. That's a very brave call. Let's see how it pans out. So, captain's challenge going in. It might be a strip here. Yeah, that's a strip. That's a strip from Clifford. I'm calling that right now. I think that's a strip. He's definitely taking that ball. So that's going to be a penalty. All right, cool. So Knights have a penalty. We're going to see Newcastle getting some attacking territory here. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see how they go. I think they'll be pretty good. I think we're going to see a bit of attack here. So starting at halfway, not super deep in here, but in a pretty good spot. All right. What have we got here? So, yeah, sharp bit of early ball. Come on, let's see a spread. Let's see a spread. This is what I want to see. Yeah, give it to Ponga. Exactly. Give it to Ponga. For Effin McEwen, you guys also had to jump on him, mate. I jumped off McEwen. I've jumped off McEwen. This is future. There's future in this watch along thing. Yeah, we could potentially do this. I mean, I definitely need to get a co-host for this though. It can't just be me talking because I'm sort of watching the game here. So Ponga's got the ball here. Oh, nice little short ball for Lucas. Yeah, they're gonna hit that all day. So they're gonna hit that Lucas short ball all day. Here we go. Left side raid. Oh, sharp. Don't cut back in, bro. Oh, here we go. A little offload. Swinging it right. I wanted to see that left side raid, though. Damn. Yeah, the blonde mullet from Sharp. Lazzy mentions it. That is absolutely majestic. Totally agree. All right, here we go. Bit of last tackle action. And they've gone. Oh, they've done the switch. Oh, here we go. Repeat set. Okay. That was cheeky. So they went to the right side, Dylan Brown, ran the switch, went to Ponga, little short kick in, and they almost scored off that. That was close. Yeah, wow. The right bounce on that. And that would have been, this is looking pretty good. I like the structure they've got here. So the involvement of the 3 spine members is looking nice. I wouldn't be shocked if they score a try in this set, to be honest, but maybe I'm just wanting the try. All right, short kickoff here. It's going pretty deep. Yeah, out in the full. Intensity's crazy. Yeah, spot on. This is a pretty cracker game. Out in the full off that dropout. Guys, if you do want to, by the way, game is on. So if you're watching along, feel like it, just watch on mute the TV or whatever it is. Keep talking fancy. So play the ball here. Knights have the ball. Early swing to Mazu. Mazu looks strong. Damn. Maybe we have to think about Reg Mazu. He looks really strong. The thing is, him and Brian To'o, they're sort of similar options in fantasy, and they've both come out really strong this year. Now, Jermaine McEwen, bit of ball, nice little tackle break. Yeah, if he's going to run sideways like that with a little fend out, that's actually going to be really good for him in fantasy this year. A bit of shape here. It looks like Croker, absolutely belted there. Yeah, you don't want a piece of that, mate. You don't want a piece of that. All right, so swinging it out. Safidi, yeah, Cowboys defense is struggling. They're getting dragged back every single play. I think Newcastle win this game. I'm actually really confident after watching this opening exchange. Ponga's got the ball. Dom Young looks like he's going to... Oh. Okay. Smart move. He's playing a bit conservative there. Cut back in. I thought he might go for that. Oh, no way. Dang, Gagai. Gagai scores. Out of dummy half. Wow. There we go. That's not the center I wanted to score. But dang, Gagai. Cheers, Lazzy. Gagai scores a try. That's an absolute cracker. Yeah, sorry. Mate, what do you mean, where's the comms? I've done 8 team reveals and this whole live. Try for Gagai. So, yeah, that's a nice little play from him. They're checking this. Let's just see the replay. Yeah, chucks the big dummy there. Yeah, Dom Young's not an interferer at all. So, it's going to be fine. Let's just see if he loses the ball. It looked fine to me. I actually reckon he might have dropped this ball. Yeah, I think he's dropped this ball, guys. I think that rests on the Cowboys player, but the leg trip has come out as well, so maybe there's a penalty there. Yeah, I'm thinking drop ball. Quick question here from Ulu. I'm curious why Gagai's always second field best. So Gagai used to be the best center in fantasy. Like a year or two ago, he was like a 55 average. He was the number one guy. He was the Herbie Farmworth, but not quite as good. But yeah, I think you guys are right. Drop ball, and then I think it's a trip as well. So no try, but it might be a penalty. Let's see how this goes. Are they going to give a penalty for the trip? Doesn't look like he's happy. Yeah, no penalty. Okay, they're not calling the trip. Interesting. So Cowboys get the ball back. Easy play. All right. So now Cowboys have the ball. Let's see what we got here. So Reed's in that spot. Reed, let's score some points for us, Reed. Come on. Reed. All right, guys. Yeah, internet was a bit choppy there. I reckon I'm gonna. I'll stick it out. I'll stick around. I'm gonna stay for a little bit longer, but I'll probably peel off in about 5 minutes because I'm keen to watch these games on the big TV. All right, crappy offload. Yep. New scoreboard is cool too. Yeah, it's a bit different. It's sort of more color arranged. So yeah, new scoreboard's not too bad. What are you guys tipping, by the way? Give me a score prediction for this game. Like, what is the score prediction you've got for this one? Which team do you think is going to win? Who do you think will score tries? Give me your predictions on those things. Knights win 28-16. Yeah, that'd be a good game. That'd be a good game to watch. 24-20. I'm assuming you're talking about Newcastle as well. Hope that money offload counts, mate. Offloads are offloads. 24-6. Okay, real clamp down there. 24-18 Knights. 18-12 Knights. 20-16 Knights win. Juicy. All right. Cheers, Vanilla Essence. Look, I think that's a good signal. I do want to go watch this game, guys. So if you do want to join me, I will be super active in the Discord. So live game thread. Here we go. How many messages have we had now? So 317 messages. This is where I'm going to be. The live game thread. Yeah, look at this. Just yapping. That's where I'll be. So if you want to jump in there, and if you're an elite member, jump into the game day chat instead. That's a bit quieter than the big main thread. So cheers, guys. Good luck this week. Good luck with your fantasy. Rip in. I'll see you guys there. Let's get into it. Woo!